Hello, everyone. This is Jan Kenny. I'm on the HCL software marketing team, and I'm happy that you all joined today to attend our Your HCL Domino Experience is About to Get Even Better webinar. And just a few things up front. It'll be recorded, and you'll receive the replay will be available shortly after this webinar, as well as in a thank you note you get tomorrow. And then at the very end of this session, we'll have Q&A at the end. And then just after that, as the meeting is closed, there'll be a short 3-question survey for you to fill out. It should take no more than 30 seconds. So kindly do that at the end. And today leading our session is Barry Rosen, who you probably all know very well. He's our Senior Product Manager for Domino and a whole bunch of other things. And he's going to take us through the Domino experience today and tell you all about it. So over to you.
Thank you, Jan. It's really exciting to be here. I hope everyone is excited as I am and the folks that are pictured in the slide to hear about what is in our early access drop 3 for Danube. So just a couple things here, just a little bit note of myself. If you need to contact me, here's my contact information. Please feel free to tweet to me or email me. I have an open door and I will listen to anything that you have to say. This is our standard disclaimer, and let's get on with it. So, what we're going to talk about today is our early access drop for Danube, which is coming in GA at the end of this year. But before we talk about that, I just want to mention a couple of other things, just points of note. We did recently announce our end of support for version 9 and version 10. Domino has been around for a very long time, and in order for us to continuously deliver new features and new functionality, it is time to do a little bit of cleanup. So as such, we've announced end of support and end of marketing for 9 and 10. And what that means is we have 2 years for end of support for version 9 and 10. And then end of marketing is going to occur at the end of this year. So what that means is that we will no longer distribute that code on FlexNet. So if you need to have those versions before the end of support period goes into effect, please go get that off of FlexNet now. So with that taken care of, a couple things to talk about today. We have an early access drop. So let's talk about that. So what is actually going to be in Danube? This is what the release is being called that we're going to drop in 4th quarter of this year. Let's go through some of the wows. If you have not seen some of the wows, this is what we're working on for you and for this release. First, we have better looking apps, Domino Restyle. This is something that we're really, really happy with this. The development team, the design team, the product management team has really done a great job on this. This is really cool, and we'll talk about this a little bit further later on in this webinar. The other things that you'll be able to actually test are enhanced mail security, our ICAP support, our DKIM support, our SPF support, and then as this is really exciting as well, the easy meeting support. So this is the ability to see free time from Domino to Office 365 or from Office 365 into Domino. And this is actually working today in our environment because we're actually using the Danube code, and this is one of my favorite things. I can just use one system to schedule free time. So let's talk about the early access program. What's really cool about this is actually the 3rd drop, so that we've been going for 2 months now. So as you can see, we've been dropping code since May. This is a big drop for us because this actually includes the Notes client as well as our language translations. The earlier 2 drops were just the server side. This is free for anyone who has a current Domino subscription. So there is nothing that you have to do as a current Domino customer in order to access the code itself. And what we've done is we've set up a forum for you to ask any questions or provide feedback to us. And I just want to state, since we've been doing this for a couple of months now, thank you so much to those people who have been providing us feedback up until now, and the people who have started providing us feedback on the Notes client. It has really been exciting to see. We appreciate all feedback, what you like, what you don't like, any feedback on documentation, on the translations, all of that is welcome. We have developers who are monitoring this. I am monitoring this. My team is monitoring this. The design team is monitoring the forum. So we're there to respond to your feedback. So just keep that in mind. And this is not the last drop. We will have 2 more drops. We'll have a drop in August. Drop 4 in August will be no change from the Notes side, and then in drop 5, there will be some changes there. So let's just do a little bit of a retrospective and look at what was delivered in release 1 and 2, because this code is also still in 3. So these features and all of this functionality exist and is present in the 3rd drop. So we're going to do a little bit of a sneak peek, and I'm going to show you one of these items. I'm not going to read all of this, but as you can see, in release 1, we had a lot of features. So I'm just going to highlight one. We're going to talk about the upload support data via the command tell Domino support. So this is something that came directly from our support team, and they said, hey, product management, it would be really great if we could put something into the product that would allow our customers to easily collect the data that we require in order to help them and to troubleshoot their issues. So here's what we did. We put this right into the server, so you can go to the command line, do tell Domino support. You would put in your case number, and then what would happen is you can see above, the server would collect all of the files that are needed, and then it would create a file that has all of these files. And as you can see in the right, it's got the console log, the Notes child PID, all of the information that development or support would need, and it easily collects that and puts that into a single zip file for you to upload to support. Let's talk about early release 2. So some of the things that we did in release 2, and you see deprecate 80 sync. Don't get scared. We didn't take a feature away. We have a feature that we released in version 11, and we've improved since then in 12. This was an old functionality that we've deprecated, so you still have the functionality there to sync with Active Directory. So when we say deprecate 80 sync, that is just an old task that we used. And these are some of the other things that we've deprecated or we've added as well in early release 2. So what is coming? So I'm going to talk about what's coming before I get to what is in release 3. So in August, we're going to have Domino Damned for IBM I. We will also include inbound SVF checking, inbound DKIM, entitlement tracking. So we've made some improvements to the entitlement tracker functionality. So we have some additional features and functionalities to that, and then additional features. And then in early access 5 in September is where it gets really exciting from a Restyle perspective, because that's where you will see that integration in Notes. So let's talk about Restyle for a moment. If you haven't heard about Restyle, this is something that's really exciting. And the concept behind Restyle is we're going to allow users to easily update the visual look and feel of existing applications, if you have the proper access, of course. So as you can see on this screen, on the left is an existing database. This is one of our standard templates here. Looks like a discussion database, a team room database. If you look on the right, it has gone through the project Restyle. When we went through this process to update some of our templates previously, we had a seasoned developer work on this, and it took the developer approximately 2 weeks per template to completely update the UI and modernize UI. What we've done is we've put this into a wizard, and you can do this in literally minutes. We have a demo that this can be done in under 2 minutes. So what exactly is it? It's low risk, it has options, and it's fast, as I just said. So, from a risk perspective, it doesn't really affect the logic or the content of your application. It only updates the UI, the look and feel. It has options. You've got different colors, you've got different palettes. You can choose from 33 different design variations. And this is just the beginning. As we get your feedback and as we release this, I'm sure that we will extend that. And as I said, it's really fast, from days and weeks to literally minutes to restyle an application. So this is a little bit of a screenshot of the wizard that you would see when you went to the application that you choose to restyle. I really like the names that the designers have chosen here. Creamy Taupe is one of my favorites. And some of the things that you will be able to restyle are views, forms, pages, action bars, embedded outlines, and frame sets. All right, so now that we've talked about Restyle and we've talked about what's gone and what is coming, let's focus on what is new in this release. As you can see, there's a lot to cover. I tried to break it up here into a couple of categories. We've got our first notes drop in early access. So we've got our Domi calendar delegation. I'm going to show that. I'm going to show the busy free time support with Office 365. I'm also going to show you the Workspace Ui improvements, and I'm going to really delve deep into some of the performance improvements that we've made as well. There's a really cool document properties improvement that I'll give you a sneak peek of, and then also our alternate for mail and databases. From a designer perspective, I'll show you how to enable sharing of jars between X pages and Java agents, which is really great because you can share resources and reduce work. And you can add a signature type to a rich text field. So this is kind of neat as well. We've had this capability in our Nomad, but this is adding it to the Notes client. And then finally from Domino, I'll show you a little bit of our ICAP work. This is just a little bit of what we've done in release 3. So let's talk about Domi. Domi is the dynamic online meeting features. This is the integration of Zoom or GoToMeeting or SameTime, which is what we hope you're using, of course, for all of your meetings. And what we've added here is the ability for a delegate to now use these meeting features. So if you've delegated your access, and that's what you see here in the screenshot, if you have given delegate access to your calendar to do in contacts, this now allows the delegates to use these features as well. We've also really improved the repeating meeting functionality of this. And it also integrates the meeting passwords and dial-in numbers directly from the meeting provider. So let me show you here the repeating meetings with the dynamic portion here. So here's what we're going to do. We've got the meeting set up. This is going to show a repeating meeting. So we're going to go and add Zoom. It is a repeating meeting. And now, as you can see, that this meeting repeats. It's on my calendar. When we open it up, it contains all of the details in each meeting, which is the URL and the password. So let's talk about the free busy time with Office 365. This is one of the ones that I really like because I use this constantly, because at HCL, we have 2 systems. Most of HCL is on Office 365. Myself and my team and all of the Domino and Notes developers, obviously we are on an internal Notes and Domino system. And scheduling meetings was not fun because I would have to go and have 2 calendar systems and have them side by side and try to figure out time zone differences and when people were free, and then hope that by the time I put it back into my verse calendar that everyone was the time was still valid and free. But this is really great because now you can configure this through console commands. And as you can see in the bottom here, and Tim was kind enough to create this deck and these demos. So thank you very much, Tim. Tim's on vacation. Tim, sorry you couldn't be here. This is a really awesome webinar. There's a lot of people that are looking at this stuff, but it's really important that we do this. So thank you again, Tim. So as you can see, Tim can see my free time, and he's looking at my free time at my HCL calendar. And this is both in verse and in notes. So let's give a little demo of that. We're going to take a look at our mail here. We're going to look at a calendar entry, try to schedule some time. Notice that Tim had to go to November in order to find free time for me, but that's just another story. So he's looking me up, and he's going to look at both my internal, as you can see, and my HCL account. And he's got to pick a time. Let's see if I'm free. Look at that. Okay, he's pretty close. All right, let's adjust that. And there we go. And both of my accounts are free at that time, so we'll just go ahead and save and send that calendar invite. Easy peasy, I love that. That is in a single step. You just scheduled a meeting across 2 calendar systems. So thanks, Tim, that was great. So let's take a look at the Workspace UI. This is something that is obviously an ongoing effort. We've kind of tweaked this in every version. We're making progress and we're making improvements. And we're doing it based on your feedback. So take a look at this UI and give us your feedback in the forum. So what we've done here differently in this version is that they now display an icon with a border with a 50% transparent background. And the reason that we did this, as you can see above, is that there are icons of different sizes. In version 12, we introduced the 64 by 64 bit icons, but there are some databases that haven't been updated. So in order to make them all look clean and nice and orderly on the workspace, this is what we've come up with. If you like it, give us feedback. If you have other suggestions or other comments, tell us in the forum. What we've also done as well is you can select the text color of the name as well. And if you don't like this and you want to keep the 1201 look, you can use an INI parameter to do so. So if you have trained your users and they're used to the 1201 look and you don't want to shock them when you roll out this version of the client, you can prevent that by using that INI. So let's talk about those client improvements. This is really, really great. Kudos to the client team. So Rom, Andrew Davis, and everybody on the Notes client team from development perspective, thank you very much, because we ask you to really focus on performance, and you did, and you delivered, and we're already getting feedback in the forum that this client is the snappiest and most performant yet, which is exactly what we like to hear, because that is our goal, is to continuously improve. And as you can see here, this version of the client is faster in startup, in warm start, in opening a mail file, in opening a message, in sending a message, in switching from a message, and from switching between folders and views. So this is great work. And so you can see here, this is a comparison between 1201 and 1202. So these are the type of charts, if you are a geek, you kind of like, and I like this chart. So let's talk about some other improvements as well. Based on the feedback, we made some improvements to the document properties view provided by Panagenda. So thank you, Panagenda. We've added 2 columns here. You can see we've added the summary column and the signed column as well. And also now you have the ability to copy multiple rows. Some improvements from an alternate from perspective. So this is where we've made some improvements from our alternate from. There's also a new policy to enable this in mail-in databases as well. Let's talk about some of the designer improvements. So, we're trying to constantly improve in all areas. This is what we've done in the designer. We've enabled sharing of jars between X pages and Java agents. So that is what this is illustrating here. So you do not have to duplicate your work effort when you're creating jar files. This is pretty neat as well. This is something that we added to Nomad. It makes perfect sense on a mobile device, but now we've added this capability to the Notes client. So this is a signature type to rich text field. So what this does when you have this set is it allows you to capture a signature. So you see in the screen here, if you have a touch screen, you can draw, or if you have a mouse or a pad, you can use that to draw your signature. So if you need documents to have signatures, you can have them signed via a Notes client. Let's talk about some of the back-end protocols that we're adding here from a security perspective. So this is part of our ongoing effort to increase the back-end security for our mail customers. So this is the antivirus using ICAP protocol. I'm going to show you a demo here. This is really neat. Look at the UI. Look at the job that the design team has done on this. This looks great. So what we're seeing here, this is showing where you would go and set the settings, the configurations to set this. Looking really nice. Showing what to do when you scan things. Do you want the message to be quarantined, and where do you want it to be quarantined? How do you want it to be scanned? When it is scanned, you will have a log. So everything has a log. So let's take a look at that. What happens when something is scanned and a virus is found? So this is what it looks like in the log. These are the technical details of what you will find. We also have a lookup tool, so it will tell you about the virus that it found. If you want further information from virus total, it will take you directly to that from the log. And then finally, we're going to show you what occurs in the quarantine. So if you set up a quarantine and you want your files to be stored in the quarantine, this is what will occur. We will warn you that there might be infected documents if you open this. This is where we're storing them. And as you can see, the text was stored there. So that looks great. That just looks amazing. So really proud of the work that the team has done there. So let's talk about this. This is another really big wow, in my opinion. I think Domino Nomad is amazing. It has been on mobile for the last couple of years, and just recently on web, we released with the capability and functionality to do offline. So kudos to the Nomad team on that for pushing that technology forward. And so what we understood when we put this into V12 is that the original requirement was to have a SafeLink server in order to deploy Nomad Web. And the feedback was, this is really difficult. SafeLinks is an amazing product. It is one of the best in terms of a VPN and reverse proxy, but it's a little bit of an overkill in terms of what is required for Nomad Web. And it's really complex. Once it's installed, it's rock solid, but installation-wise, it's not the easiest thing to do. So what we did is we said, you know what, let's put that reverse proxy functionality into the Domino server. So we no longer require the need to deploy SafeLinks in order to have Nomad Web. It doesn't require a relational DB. And the best part of this, if you already have SafeLinks in your environment, it works in tangent with it because you can still utilize the VPN portionality of that. It does not affect it at all. So if it's better with, or if you want to run it without, that is okay as well. So please go in there, test this functionality, give us your feedback on it. We really, really want to push Nomad Web. We think this, in conjunction with the offline capabilities, is going to explode this. So give us your feedback so that when we release this, it's exactly how you want it. All right, so I kind of covered a lot of information there, a lot of features, a lot of functions, and now I'm going to kind of tell you about how and where you can go to get the code and where you can go to give us feedback. So here is a QR code that will take you to our FlexNet solution. This is where we distribute our software. So not only do we distribute beta code on FlexNet, we distribute all of our GA code on FlexNet. So once you get to FlexNet, if you're having problems finding it, if you just do a search for Domino 12.0.2, it should come up. It's Domino 12.0.2 early access, and you will see all of those files available for access. If you don't see it, it could be an issue with your entitlement, so open a ticket and we'll help you resolve that. Now, how do you give us the feedback? Once you have the code and you've installed it, you've played with it, you've broken it, you've fixed it, whatever you need to do with it, we have a forum for this. Well, what's great about this forum? It's based on Domino. So here you go. When you get to the forum, if you have registered or you've given us feedback in the past, you should be able to log right in, email and password. If you have not ever given us feedback before, on this screenshot at the bottom, you see a button that says create account, customer or partner. If you are a customer, click customer. If you're a partner, click partner. That will help you register. Once you register, you will be given a username or your email address. You will be given a password for the forum, and you will be able to log in. You will be able to see the feedback. You will be able to give feedback, and you will have direct access to our developers and to myself and my team and to our design team. So this is what it looks like in there. This is about 10 days old. So you can see, this is older feedback on early access drop 2. And while we're here, I just want to give a shout out to the folks who've been active in this forum and been giving us feedback since day one. So just a couple names in there: Cormac, Ulrich, Detlef. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anybody, but we really appreciate the fact that you're in there, that you're downloading the code, that you're taking the time to kick the tires, and then give us your thoughts and your feedback. That's what's really important, because that's what's going to help make this the best release for all of our customers. And it will help us understand, what you're thinking and what your thoughts are on the release. So one last thing, I want everyone to go into those forums. I want everyone to go download the code, and I want everyone to install the code and give us feedback on that, because that's the only way that we know what you like and what you don't like, and then we can incorporate that into the next release. Well, we have one other way to get feedback. Well, we have a couple ways, but we have a new thing here, not a new thing, but we're revising our Domino Jam. So I do want to talk about that a little bit as well, because this is a way to actually give us feedback face to face. This is the developers and the product managers and the marketing team and the sales team and the business partners and the customers all come together face to face, and we come to your city where you are, and we spend the day and we talk about Domino, and we talk about VoltMX, and we talk about VoltMX Go, and we talk about Restyle, and we talk about upgrade best practices. And this is a really fun event. So, if you're interested in meeting us in person, and one of these cities is near you, or you can get to one of these cities, or you're in one of these cities, please go to our blog and sign up to that and register for that. In the next coming weeks, we will start having the dates for each of these cities defined, and you will be able to register for the individual events. And we are really excited and looking forward to you. We did an event in Frankfurt a couple of weeks ago in early July. That was kind of our pilot event. It went really, really well. We got a lot of great feedback on that. We've made some tweaks to the schedule and to the agenda based on the feedback that we got, but overall, very, very positive, very exciting, and we're taking that feedback and we're going to put that into the next release as well. So thank you very much. With that, I will open it up to any questions. If there are any technical questions, I would ask you to put those directly into the forum itself. And if there's any questions that I cannot answer, obviously we will get back to you either in the forum or via a blog. So I just want to say thank you for everyone. I appreciate your participation. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to the dev team for putting these early access drops out there. Each year we've gotten better and better, and we've provided more and more code drops earlier and earlier so we can get your feedback earlier and earlier. I don't see that many questions here. Let's see, here we go. Caldev support coming soon. We don't have Caldev support in this particular release. If there are any things that you want in the future roadmap, we do have an AHA for that. So go ahead and put that in AHA, create an idea or search and see if there is an idea for that. And then we will look at that. How can I get a partner? I'm assuming that you're asking how can you join as a partner. You can register at the bottom. I showed you that there's a link for a customer. There's a link for a partner to register as a forum. If you are a partner to get the code, it should be part of the partner pack as well. Oh, the other thing that's I did not mention is that the Notes client is 64-bit. So we will be releasing starting in 12.02 a 64-bit version of the Notes client as well as the All client. So let's see if there's any other questions here. Can I run the beta version client against a version 9 server? That's a great question. I don't think we have tested our version 12.02 against version 9. You can run it and give us feedback on it. Obviously beta is not supported and we are ending support for version 9, but go ahead and try it and give us any feedback that happens there. Does Restyle require the latest version of Domino Notes? That's a great question as well. So Restyle will require the latest version of Notes because that is where it is. It's going to be in Notes. It's going to also be in Nomad, and it will also be in the Designer client. So you will need the latest version of the Notes, which will be Danube. And it will, I believe it will be in the 105 version of Nomad as well. And what it will be is if you have designer access to that database, when you go into the menus in those various clients, you will see the option to run the Restyle. And then once you run that, then you will be presented with the wizard. And then once you run the wizard, it will show you the wizard is running. Once the wizard is complete, it will show you the updated UI of the database. So what we will ask that you do is in drop 5 that you test that and you give us feedback on the Restyle, both the UI, the process, the functionality, and everything that you like and that you don't like. If there's other color sets or anything like that that you're interested, let us know. It looks like there is an issue with one of the QR codes. We will address that prior to redistributing the deck. Let's see, is Eclipse going to continue as a strategic component in the Notes Designer admin client? That's a great question as well. So as you all know, we have both Java and Eclipse in the Notes client as kind of the foundations of those. I would say for the near future, Eclipse will be a strategic component of the Notes Designer admin client. We are thinking about next steps to upgrade both Eclipse and Java and timings of that. So that is, for internal discussion at this point. But as soon as we have some timings on that, we will discuss that. All right, I will take one or two, see if there's one or two more questions, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Let's see. In the demo, you showed looking at calendars in Domino and Office 365. Are they in the same domain? That's a great question. I think you're asking, Office 365, I don't think it is a Domino domain. I would put that question in the forum. We can get one of the developers to answer that. And then you can also look in the documentation, which will tell you how to set that up. So that is also available in the forum. So if you go to the forum and also when you download the code, the documentation is available. So you'll see what's new in EAP 3. So you should see that information. And if there's any feedback that you have on the documentation as well, that is appreciated. So we also get feedback like, hey, this wasn't clear in the documentation, or I ran into an issue because the documentation said this and I found it was something else. So all of that feedback is appreciated. All right, last question here. Antivirus, does it require a third party or is it completely self-contained? It does require a third party. Part of the, but it can be open source, so you don't have to pay for that third party. So part of what we offer, I believe, in the EAP and the testing is a test server that mimics a virus scanner. So if you don't have one, we will mimic that for you so you can see what it looks like when a virus is detected, when a virus is logged, when a virus is quarantined, similar to the demo that I provided. So I believe that there's a server in there that provides that dummy functionality for you so that for the EAP purposes, you don't need to go and make any purchases or do anything to test that functionality in terms of third party. So everything that you need from a third-party perspective, you should be able to test that just in EAP. Obviously, if you want to test that with some of your third-party like Trend Micro or something like that, that would be great as well. We have been partnering with Trend Micro. We've been testing with Trend Micro as well internally. And one other name, Daniel Grillo. So Daniel, I saw your name pop up in here, so thank you for your feedback in the forums as well. All right, so I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to the questions. Thank you to the feedback that you've provided. Really appreciate it. It's great to see this many people join a webinar to discuss a beta about Notes in Domino. So thank you for your time. And hopefully we'll see each other soon.